Russian President Putin has signaled his willingness to consider a Ukraine ceasefire, but with conditions. Speaking at a press conference alongside Belarusian leader Alexander, Putin stressed that any ceasefire must lead to enduring peace and eliminate the root causes of the war. His statement comes as Steve Witkoff, an envoy of US President Donald Trump, arrives in Moscow for talks on a proposed 30-day ceasefire. The Kremlin says it will engage in discussions but insists that Ukraine must accept Russia's terms. Earlier, Putin praised Russian forces for regaining control over areas in the Kursk region, which Ukraine had previously occupied. He stated that all surrounding settlements were now under Russian control and suggested that Moscow would consider a ceasefire based on how the situation unfolds. Putin questioned the feasibility of enforcing a truce given the 2,000-kilometer long border between Russia and Ukraine. He argued that both sides must carefully study ceasefire conditions to avoid future violations. The Russian president also indicated that talks with the US would be necessary, even suggesting a potential phone call with Donald Trump. Putin also thanked Russian service members who have helped retake areas in the Kursk region of the country. He said, and I quote, "Yesterday in his report, the Northern Group commander told me tomorrow Sudza will be ours, and that's what happened." End quote. He said his forces are also retaking all the surrounding settlements from the Ukrainian military, adding that depending on how the situation develops, Russia would discuss a ceasefire. Meanwhile, the G7 foreign ministers have convened in Canada to discuss continued support for Ukraine. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly emphasized the need for a just and lasting peace, while US Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned against using antagonist language toward Russia. As global diplomatic efforts intensify, Kremlin aide Yuri Yushakov confirmed that Putin will meet Steve Witkoff behind closed doors in Moscow later tonight. With Russia tightening its grip on occupied territories and the West pushing for a resolution, the question now remains, will a ceasefire bring real peace, or is this just another phase of the conflict? Stay tuned for more updates.